Hello everyone, welcome back to the coverage here at the Pokemon Trading Card Game Regional Championships here in Liverpool. I'm Fred Pierce, I'm here with Shea Burton, and we've got another round of action coming up here for you.
Yeah, I managed to compose myself after that, Snorlax Cherry Game. Brought myself back down to earth a little bit. How exciting now, and this is where these next rounds are going to be super nitty gritty. Really important for players to start locking up top 16 placements, or even start thinking about their top 8 placements as well.
Yeah, it really is. Now, we talked a lot about how, well, at the beginning of day one, we talked about how the metagame was very sort of well developed. We weren't necessarily expecting anything super crazy, but maybe with the fact that the metagame is so well known, some spice could emerge, as we did see with the Cherry Snorlax deck in the last game. But I think it might be a good idea to maybe have a look at a breakdown of the metagame overall and see like what has actually been the most popular over the course of this weekend.
Yeah, so no surprises here. Lugia, V-Star, Archeops being the most played deck in day 2 with almost 40% of the share there, really high. Then we've got Mew VMAX there at 40. And you know what, one thing about that Mew VMAX, there's been quite a lot of fusion knocking about, which is something I did not really expect that much.
No, yeah, it does seem like that's kind of been the way to go recently, and I think it goes back to something we were talking about earlier with how you can get that very aggressive, turn 1 attack with the Meloetta, maybe KOing a Lugia going second, and how that can be a very, very strong start, and maybe forces the Lugia playing going first to bench 2 Lugias, which is usually not optimal.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's really interesting to see. I'll be intrigued to see how that pans out. But I want to kind of draw your attention more towards the middle of the graph here, as we got only 3 Vikavolt Aerodactyl V-Stars there. And like I said, a deck that won the last regional, but only 3 here in day 2. Why do you think that could be?
It's hard to say, right? I think it goes back to something else we were also talking about before, which maybe this deck is just a little bit harder to pilot. Some people don't have quite as much confidence in it, so even though they see it do well and win, they pick it up and they think, oh, I actually don't think I can pilot this well. I don't feel confident enough with in my playing abilities to be able to make all the right decisions.
Yeah, no, I think that could be 100% correct. And one other interesting thing, there's only one less Hisuian Gudra V-Star as there is Vikavolt, which is something, again, that if you told me that before, I would have been very confusing. Hisuian Gudra V-Star, we haven't seen that do damage since Hail 1 regionals with it. But here it is again, 2 in top in day 2, I should say.
And not to mention, one of them is being piloted by Stefan Ivanov, who is currently on the top table for day 2. So, very, very strong showing there for Hisuian Gudra. Even though only 2 in there, I think there's more than a good chance that Stefan actually ends up making top 8 with it.
And that would be super interesting. Who would have thought we would get a Gudra V-Star potentially, in top 8 and could even take over? Stefan Ivanov is no slouch, one of the best players in the game. I think no one can argue that. And that rolling arm, we got it on stream, didn't we, actually?
Yeah, we did.
Yesterday. It can get really interesting when it gets rolling.
Actually, there's something else that I'd really like to draw attention to. We were talking also yesterday about how, Palkia has been like the surprise, comeback kid, as it were, onto the metagame stage. But only one actually made it into day 2, looking at this meta breakdown.
Now, that is interesting, because not only did we see it, getting played in high counts, they were winning on stream as well. But
yeah.
And I believe that Palkia V-Star deck, I was looking through the list earlier, I believe that is a Palkia V-Star Vikavolt list, potentially. I think it might be. It's just like a turbo Palkia V-Star Vikavolt off the top of my head. So something worth noting there. So no sort of Palkia Articuno making it into day 2.
Yeah, it's a very, 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 very surprising. But sometimes you see it do well, but you see one stream game win. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will go all the way to win enough to make it into day 2. So maybe just the later rounds didn't quite go their way.
Yeah, you could argue, if you start winning all your games, then you're going to start playing harder opponents, or opponents that, his decks are been really meticulously built and all that stuff. And unfortunately, then that's when you can run into some problems, as it were. A bit sad to see.
Yeah, a little bit sad to see indeed. Now, I do believe we have our next pairing coming up very, very shortly for you. We will be featuring, perhaps very fitting considering the metagame breakdown we just did. It's going to be a Lugia V-Star mirror match.
Now, that's an interesting one, because a lot of the times you're going to think, whoever goes first is going to be really heavily favored. But we have seen before where you go in second, you can, if Lugia doesn't pop off as much or doesn't get the both Archeops out, the Lugia deck can struggle.
Yeah, it can a little bit. And now also want to draw attention to the fact that one of the players we're featuring now, Brian de Vries, the Dutch player who's done very, very well over the course of the most recent few seasons, appear in day 2 again by piloting Lugia.
Yeah.
very, very narrowly missing out on top cut of the LAIC as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, it was a bit of a heartbreaker story because they finished second at the previous LAIC. They're losing to Robin after getting a game loss going into the finals, and this time they bubbled top 8. They're finishing in 9th place.
So LAIC is a bit of heartbreak city for Brian there, as
Yes.
it were. So maybe Brian's looking to try and take Liverpool home to try and, you know, cut the losses, as it were, as you see him there on the left, playing against Ethan Chu, currently on a 9-2-1 record as well.
Yeah, Ethan, not a player I'm as familiar with, I must say. It's be interesting to pull up the history a little bit, see what they've actually been able to achieve in recent times. But does this player come to, did it come to mind for you at all?
Doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head, but must be doing really well to get here. And it looks like they actually had a top 64 placement at Stuttgart with Lugia as well.
Okay. So an up and coming then.
An up and coming player, yeah, maybe a Lugia player, as it were, who's doing quite well. You know, found themselves in the top 64 there of Stuttgart, and now find himself most likely in top 64 here again. So fair play to Ethan. Knows his way around a Lugia deck, that's for sure.
Yeah, that definitely does. And if he knows his way around Lugia deck so well, maybe he'll be able to pilot this mirror match to success. Who knows? It's very actually one thing that it will be very important to look at is just how these two lists vary. Of course, there might be certain clutch techs that can be key in swinging the mirror matchup in your favor. Looking at this though, I'm not seeing nothing's leaping out at me.
To help with a mirror match, I'm not really seeing anything too crazy. Both players played the Raikau. We can see a copy, or we do see one copy of cancelling, or both players playing cancelling Cologne, so we could see some mana fee shenanigans to try and take out, double prize cards or 2 prize cards. Looks like Brian is playing a copy of Skylar, which we saw yesterday, so that could, assist in the early turns, just getting your Ultra Ball or stuff in the discard pile. But looking at Brian's list, this seems very standard. One thing I would say, actually, the third copy of Boss here for Ethan could come up to try and punish some Archeops, because Serena can't get Archeops. Brian only playing 2, so that could be something worth looking out for.
Yeah, it could. So it looks like Ethan did win the coin flip and will be going first. Huge advantage to the mirror already, so we'll be able to, as long as he sets up effectively, we'll be able to get out the first summoning star and get the first attack going. Although, important to note, 2 powerful color synergies in the prize cards for Ethan.
Wow, and a choice belt, and he only plays 1 choice belt. Well, he only plays 2 choice belts, so he's only got access to 1 now. So that's going to make it really difficult for Lugia to reach up into KO range. I mean, I think it is still possible, though. 220, 240, 260 choice belt. You can get to that magic 280 number, but not a lot of wiggle room.
No, not a lot of wiggle room at all. Meanwhile, Brian's prize is looking a bit more workable. There's maybe some search cards and a couple of energy and 1 Serena. Although that Serena is a one of, so we won't have access to it until later on. Yeah,
so prizes for Brian, not looking too bad. And why is it so advantageous to be going first in the mirror, Freya?
So it's like I was saying before, right? It means that you get the first chance to evolve into your V-Star, the first chance to do Summoning Star, and therefore the first chance to use Primal Turbo and the first chance to put out a really big attack. It's just as simple as that.
And you sort of immediately put the pressure on your opponent, saying if you don't immediately respond to this Lugia that I'm attacking with, it's going to be causing much more damage later on as well.
Yes, so Ultra Ball. Oh, is that 2 Archeops in the discard already? Wow, okay. Super strong start from Ethan then. Already got the discard pile set up, ready to go. It's just going to be needing that Lugia V plus the Lugia V-Star after that, and he'll be absolutely rolling.
He does only play a 3-3 and has prized 1 Lugia V-Star as well, Ethan, there, so he might have to keep tabs. It looks like going for a Luminion. Is there a way to get a Lugia down?
No, well, there must be, right? Because he's going first, so if you can't play a supporter, right?
No, so he's activating Luminous Sign. This supporter can't be used, but maybe he's wanting to play it next turn. Maybe wants to improve top deck odds, maybe. That's a couple cards that he cannot. Capture Engine. It has to be a Capture Engine. Okay, I was a bit worried there for a second, Ethan, but yeah, no, that makes perfect sense then. Aqua Return, really good in the mirror as well, trying to take a KO on something, such as that Oranguru even.
Yeah.
And then getting it off the board, and that is back over to Brian.
And all of a sudden this makes a lot more sense, right? Because the whole thing is putting a Capture Energy on a Raikou doesn't really do that much because, of course, its attack costs 3 different colored energies, so you want to put Auroras on there. Whereas Capture on the Luminion, 1 Primal Turbo now can, with 1 Aurora and 1 of any color, power up Aqua Return, and that's a much more efficient use of the energies there.
No, 100% correct there. It's annoying that Raikou doesn't have 1 colorless in its attack cost, but I think that's a common trait amongst all the amazing rares. No colorless, all strictly colored energy. And over to Brian now, as he immediately looks like going to get at least 1 Archeops in the discard pile and has access to another one. And I've been intrigued to see what's in his hand. He's doing his initial deck search there. I don't think there's anything too crazy to worry about in those prize cards.
No, I don't think so either. So after this Ultra, we're going to, again, look through and see that, nothing crazy, like you said, is in the prize cards. So definitely more than workable in this situation. Has been able to get one Archeops in the discard pile ready with the Ultra Ball and just search for another one. I presume there's going to be some kind of discard out in the hands to get rid of the second one. Yeah, there's a quick ball.
There's a quick ball. I think there's a research in the hand there as well, so can even get a choice belt onto that Lugia, which is always nice to see that plus 30 modifier. Oh, interesting. Okay, prioritising the Manaphy. You could argue Manaphy's a lot harder to find, and you might need it if Ethan has led that Raikou. So I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all.
It might be that Brian already has Lugia in hand as well, right?
There's
two in hand. Yeah,
okay.
There you go. So, yeah, bench the Manaphy, bench Lugia, bench the second Lugia because one might get KO'd.
And the empty hand research. Remember back in the day, Frey, when you do the
high five
with the empty hand. Sycamore it was back then, right? Sycamore. So
something that was started in France, I think, as I recall.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe we should ask Stefan about that.
Yeah, it is. So after the research, doesn't need to find anything too crazy. As long as he has an out to a Lugia V-Star next turn, it should be good to go.
Yeah.
And we see the Evolution Incense in hand, so yeah, you can actually just go for a Capture Energy. But not going to bench anything because you want to leave those 2 bench slots free for the Archeopses.
Yes, we don't want any shenanigans where you can only get down 1 Archeops. That would be disastrous.
We don't want to do a Dow.
See, I was talking around it. I didn't want to say it.
I'm sorry. It has to be done. It has to be done. Alex, we love you.
I just set you up there, but I made you tell the joke, not me. Okay. Right, we love you, Alex, don't worry. So it looks like as Brian passed, not quite yet, looking like some decisions to make. Is that an Evolution Incense? Probably can't play that now. Oh, no, it isn't Ethan's turn, I apologise. So Ethan has the Lugia V-Star in hand already, and we know he's got a Marnie. Will he still opt to play? There's a lot of energy in that hand, actually, so maybe that's why he took the Marnie.
Yeah, it does make sense. And also just to, again, maximise the odds of giving your opponent a bad hand as well. So, so that combined with putting the energy back makes the most sense.
So I think we saw, one Evolution Incense from Brian and 1 Ultra Ball. So, that's 2 less search cards to find the Lugia V-Star on the back of this Marnie. Could get a little bit dicey, and that is the problem with Lugia, though. As strong as the deck as it is, it cannot function without the Archeops in place. You need to get that Lugia down, and you need to get 2 in the discard pile. No ifs, ands, or buts really about it.
No, and it looks like, bearing in mind that the possibility of doing a double knockout with the Raikou has been taken away, I think what Ethan's going to instead do here is, like he's just done, Primal Turbo onto the Luminion to power it up, and then do another Primal Turbo on the Raikou just to retreat it, and then go for the Aqua Return. Yeah,
that sounds about right. Could even attach a double turbo to satisfy that.
Yes, that would also work.
Well.
So
here you go. Big Marnie. What is... Oh, no. Brian's got bricks.
Oh, no.
He's building a house with that hand.
Oh,
no. And that's the thing I told you about Marnie. Honestly, it can just do that. I've been on the receiving end of too many of those Marnies.
That's so bad. Was it a boss's orders, 2 energies and a Raikou?
And a Raikou. That's nothing. I mean, to be fair, Brian does get to see 1 extra card of a top deck and then 1 extra one of Iron Guru, but those 2 cards need to be good, otherwise this game could get out of hand.
And he wasn't able to use the Primate Wisdom to preserve a good card on top with that, because he had to use it at the beginning of the turn instead.
Yeah.
That's very, very rough.
And that is the power of a turn 2 Marnie, everyone. It can just do that. It can just snatch games out of... can just snatch games and just get you wins that you otherwise might not have had, but all fair play to Ethan. That's what you have to do sometimes just to get the win. Here we see the Primal Turbo probably going to grab a way to get this Raikou out. There we see a DTE.
Yeah, just attach to attach double turbo and a Aurora, right? You can just make it so that you get 1 of those engines ready to go. Use the DTE to retreat, and then 1 more Primal Turbo. Next turn will get the Raikou powered up. So may as well use it as efficiently as possible. And yeah, does think about it? Maybe just go. No, just go for the double turbo.
Yeah, don't mind that. Just keep the resources in deck. I mean, you are going first. You are going to be in the driver's seat, so there's no need to be super aggressive like that. I mean, Primal Turbo can let you satisfy attack cost at any time. Yep. No need to be too crazy with the attachments there. But here we do see the Aqua Return for the KO. And what's the promotion here? Is it going to be Manaphy? Is it going to be Raikou again?
I mean, no, Raikou again. Because I guess if you promote the Manaphy and then Brian KOs it, then suddenly Brian's Raikou becomes a lot more terrifying.
Oh, no, that was a boss off the top.
Oh, no.
So it's going to have to be Oranguru. Is Oranguru's time? Is Oranguru well trained as those Snorlaxes?
No, he just got KO'd. The Oranguru just got KO'd. You can't use it.
Oh, of course. I'm so silly. Yeah, so that is it. That is so not rough. Like this.
So
not like this.
I guess bench the Raikou, attach an energy, but then pass. Oh, you could attach.
Oh, you can read.
Yeah, okay, you can read the wind. So it's not entirely less lost than is an Ultra Ball. So next turn will be fine, but basically Ethan basically bought himself a free turn with that Marnie.
Yeah, bought himself a free turn and going first, but he's technically 2 attacks ahead at this point. And this wait, Ethan hasn't taken a prize card for his own guru.
Oh yeah,
okay, there we go. Okay, yeah.
Easy fix.
Just noticed that just in time. Yeah,
Easy fix.
Yeah, it's about to say, hang on, he's got 6 prize cards left. So yeah, so Ethan's going to be 2 attacks ahead here. Could even take 2 prizes here, most likely. And I wonder what line he'll go down. I mean, could just carry this Lugia. Could try and you go for that boss, cancelling Cologne play even, and go that way around it. I wonder what Ethan. I don't think Ethan's got too many playable cards either. He's not really doing a lot. Opted to go for Primal Turbo straight away. I mean, amazing shots. It actually isn't. Wait, no.
Well,
No, it is a KO, sorry.
Yeah, it is, because to 120 doubles to 240,
Yeah.
so it could actually just, even if you don't get through the bench damage, you can still just take an easy KO on Lugia, which is still absolutely fine.
Yeah, it leaves a 1 prize in the active as well.
Yep.
Not too bad. It's very costly with those energy with that energy cost, though. You know, if you use the Raikou and it gets KO, probably not going to be able to use your Vettel this game, but when you're so far ahead, maybe you don't need your Vettel anymore.
Yeah, maybe so.
And it's V-Guard. Did that get attached to V-Guard, to the Raikou?
Yeah, it did. Maybe even thinking that, I mean, it's actually relevant for any maths, because no, the Raikou only has like 110 HP, right? I don't think there's any V that hits somewhere between, because 140 would be enough to take care of the V-Guard. I don't think there's anything, right?
The only thing I can think of, it puts you outside of range of Lugia V, the basics for energy attack, but it's got a powerful one already, so that...
And I guess it also...
Maybe double dip Fangs with 4 powerfuls?
Yeah, but there's one powerful.
Yeah, there's one powerful attached. So
yeah.
Maybe it just says, I don't want to draw into this. So
yeah, I guess that also makes sense.
Could just be that as well. So over to Brian. Does now have the Ultra Ball, so we can get rolling.
Wait. Oh, no. I just realized exactly why he did this. So it puts the Raikou out of range of Aqua Return.
Oh, there it is.
Yes,
yeah, there
that's actually super relevant.
Yeah, no, that is 100% correct there. Yeah, that is very relevant, actually. So it forces a beefy attacker, basically, to stay in the active position.
Yeah, it does. So Ultra Ball now from Brian. You're going to finally find that Lugia V-Star, and then use the Summoning Star, get out the 2 Archeopses, and start powering up. I mean, you just have to attack with this Lugia, I think, this turn. That's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, I believe so. And Ethan can then just try and respond onto this Lugia with his own Lugia and put Brian in a tough spot. We do some raw energy in the discard pile here as well. I'd like to see what energy he's got left in deck here. See if we can have a look. So 1 powerful, 2 powerful, an Aurora.
So yeah, respond back with Lugia, or what could also work is if Ethan could find access to his second choice belt, because obviously one of them is prized, he could KO with the Radiant Charizard as well.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Yep, that would be really nasty. And you leave a 1 prize in the active as well.
Yep.
1 more powerful left to capture. I didn't see how many Auroras are left, but yeah, I think this Lugia, I think it's the only way for Brian. He's going to have to start swinging back, and it's a shame he's only taking 1 prize card. Ethan's going to go very far ahead in this game.
Yeah, and Brian's like definitely. Brian's definitely on the back foot. We see, just like a tempo boss play. Okay.
Okay.
So going to go for the 2 prizes instead. Kind of like ignoring the Raikou a little bit, thinking because the Raikou, I guess it can't KO the Lugia as easily, right? It needs the choice belt to KO the Lugia, whereas the opposing Lugia V-Star with 3 powerful colorlesses can KO his Lugia without the choice belt, so it kind of forces a more awkward find.
Forces more fun. I wonder if maybe a boss into the Archeops could have been an interesting play there as well, because that Lugia didn't have any energy on it, so that would have been quite a few turns away from attacking. But let's see, 2 powerfuls in hand actually, and a research is kind of awkward. You don't really want to play that research now, because
no, not really.
Powerful energies are going to be really helpful for Stoutland even, and for Lugia. But I guess there's no Lugia threat. There's a Luminion actually though. Was that a Luminion?
Yeah, there's a Luminion in hand. So maybe the play here is just to get out your other Marnie and Aqua Return. There is, I believe, even he's only played 1, so there should be 1 more left that he has access to, unless he discarded it off of something where we didn't see it. Going to be very interesting to see what he goes for. Because you want to preserve those powerful colors energies as much as you can. You don't really want to discard them all, and I'm sure that's kind of the struggle debate that Ethan's having now. Actually, just decide to go for the Primal Turbo straight away before playing a supporter. No, changes his mind. It's a tough decision.
Sort of like hedging your bets. Maybe if you Primal Turbo now, it means there's less cards for you to draw into off the mind. If you're just trying to find choice belt, maybe. But yeah, this is a tough decision. You have to sort of commit to the play before you play the supporter, as it were.
It's umming and ahhing a lot. Does commit the powerful colorless to the Archeops in the end. And so maybe now you're okay with discarding just one.
Yeah.
It's kind of seems to be what he's going for. But you can tell he's really, really struggling. Every single decision he's making is it's kind of a lot of uncertainty there in the body language.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, when you're at this point of the tournament, all these decisions are so important, can make or break the game, and there's no choice belt there.
No, there's not. So that's not really what you wanted to see. No means of getting the return knockout easily here. Can still do a lot of damage to the Lugia V-Star. You could do like 240, then you know that's only 40 away from being knocked out with something else. But still not really ideal.
The choice belt was in deck. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So he didn't, unfortunately. I mean, he does only play two at some of the concessions for Ethan's list here. Does only play 2 choice belts. One's prized. So
yeah, I mean Brian's list only plays 1. So I think actually.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, it's I think 2 is the common count in Lugia. I think 3 is you can play 3, but that's like a little bit rarer. So it's just one of those things. Okay, but here's why I'm just thinking though. There is a potential very interesting line here to that wouldn't necessarily work. As I think again you could go for like the double dip fangs, but it doesn't work on evolution Pokemon. It works on basics, so that because then free prizes on the Lugia V-Star could have been very fun, but no, not on the non-basic.
Wow, that would be immense.
Yes, it would. If it worked, but it doesn't.
If it worked. You have to wait to Crown Zenith for that sort of style play with that new tablet card that does.
Oh
similar,
yes,
right? Yeah,
no, but that's I think that also. Oh no, that does work on V-Stars.
Yeah.
It's for it buffs a basic V and it's when it KOs a VMAX or V-Star. So yeah, so that would work indeed.
Oh, we see the Onkuru. Yeah. Here we go. Going to try that little one extra dig. Okay.
Ethan is one of the many guru gamers here this
gamers.
Weekend. Primate Wisdom coming in, just again such a strong ability. You think it's such a simple one, just swapping a card from the top of your hand for the top of your deck, but there's so many different utilities that provides. Protecting cards by putting them on the top, just a little bit of extra dig when you don't have it otherwise. It is one of the most rewarding cards, tech support to cards to play. I think.
Yeah, so many uses. We're seeing play all the way back in the ADP-zation days. Just seeing extra cards. We even see how important extra cards is. We saw Muku in the Snorlax deck.
Yeah.
Basically, just draw an extra card this turn. And Oanguru has more uses than just that. And I tell you what, Brian's in a decent position here. It's going to even up the prize count. Ethan hasn't really got a great attack outside the Charizard going in.
Yeah, I think
could be starting to even this game out.
Yeah, I think that heads-up knockout on Lugia was really smart because it kind of denied Ethan a good KO option. It meant he had to find the choice belt, and of course he missed. So all of a sudden, I mean, if Ethan did find the choice belt, he probably would have been very, very bad. Brian would have been in a very, very bad spot. So it was a sort of a fortunate miss for Brian, but at the same time, it was that way he had to go for, and it paid off.
I think 100% correct in that scenario. It looks like Brian, with the Professor's research there, now going to go for the Primal Turbo. Did bench the amazing rare Raikou, maybe trying to start lining that one up.
Yeah, the Raikou for both of them is not really putting in full value, of course, because both players have a Manaphy out, so that bench damage isn't going to happen. But, I guess they're both even in that regard, right? Although the only difference being that Ethan's one does have 4 energy committed to it.
Yeah, the rare 4 energy on the 3 energy attack. But like I said, super relevant, denying the Aqua return play. I think both players looks like they're setting up their Archeops. I guess Archeops is quite decent at dealing with Charizard, I guess, with 1 powerful energy.
Yeah, I guess so.
How much damage does it? 150?
No, so 120. So with 1 choice belt or 2 powerful colorless energies, you could KO Charizard with it.
Oh no! Think about it. Here we do see that rare Archeops being used in the mid-game.
Speedwing there for the knockout onto the Raikou, taking all of Ethan's energy off the board. So but now Ethan has left himself with just single prize attackers, which is really, really strong. So now, as long as he can trade blow for blow and get a knockout every single turn, there's no way that Brian catches up. And so Ethan has sort of played this to the best of his own ability.
Yeah, then like one of these Archeops can set themselves up, and then the other Archeops can set the Charizard up. Even have the Heat Fire to attach from hand, so the Charizard can even get that extra HP, which could actually be super relevant. You know?
Well, yeah, it means that if you try to KO a Speedwing on an Archeops, you need 20 more damage than you usually would. You would need 3 powerful colors instead of 2.
And I believe that Lugia has a couple of attacks that actually closes the door on that line of play. So Heat Fire coming in clutch. And we saw yesterday, Heat Fire, we see some Lugia list opting to play the Hiding Dark instead. But here we see the Heat Fire maybe being super relevant in this scenario.
Yeah, no kidding. So here we go. It's the trades are happening, right? The Heat Fire's in the hand. yeah, just going to attach that to the Charizard just to get it ready to go into attack. And he needs one more energy to attack right now because Brian's taking 3 prize cards. So, of course, with that Excited Heart ability, it reduces the attack cost by 1 for every prize card your opponent has taken. And Brian's taken 3, so there's only 1 fire, 1 colorless now that Combustion Blast costs.
I wonder if we see Ethan play the boss to get rid of this Lugia now. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So that...
And then Brian just
I think
concedes.
that was a concession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ethan just gets too far ahead. He's taking 2 prizes and just needs 1 more to win the game. And Ethan will go 1 game up in this series.
Wow, and there we see the boss always coming in clutch, going first, already an advantage, and then the Marnie just really turning the screw there on Brian, making sure that he even got another turn, and it's really hard to come back when you're like 2 turns behind, right?
Yeah, it's and I mean in a sense Brian was already behind as well.
Yeah.
So like I said, sort of with that KO on the Lugia, Ethan was now like 2 turns ahead of Brian because he only had 1 prize left to take, and Brian still had 3, and there were only single prize attackers on Ethan's side of the board.
Exactly, and that's the problem with the Lugia. That you still have Charizard, a single prize Pokemon that can swing for 280 with a choice belt. It just get a bit gnarly. And then Ethan with the clutch boss there. Boss Sword is such a good card for closing games out. And if you're Brian now, how do you try and approach this next game?
So, you're going first, so that helps a lot. Don't miss a turn of, I feel like a lot of the reasons why Brian ended up, not managing to make it there was kind of things that are a little bit out of his control. Especially, the key turn was that Marnie, right? That Marnie that Ethan did really put like the stopper on Brian there.
And it's interesting because the Marnie, like, when it works so well. But then if your opponent just sets up anyway, it's a bit like, why did I bother? But when it works, it can be absolutely game-winning.
Yeah. So it's so cool to see just how many people you have there just in that pan-out shot. You see, there's a lot of people watching today.
Yeah, normally at day 2 of a region, you don't have that many people that tend to maybe go home or just chill at the hotel. But a lot of people here showing out, looking to watch the day 2 stream. Love to see it. Love to see you guys at home watch as well. So make sure you don't go anywhere. So got some loads of exciting gameplay just as the players shuffle up here for game 2.
Yeah. Yes, very, very exciting stuff. And yeah, Brian going first will now definitely have the advantage, like we said. And so as long as he can get a decent setup, I think he will be in a good spot to win. But again, we can see it's so easy to just miss 1 turn, right? And all of a sudden it can flip back the other way. Because there was a point where Brian could have actually maybe tried to like pull off the comeback and won in spite of going second. But that Marnie just scuppered everything.
And that's the thing, you just got to buy yourself a turn. But you never know, Lugia Mirror, if there's Archeopsis don't come out, one player essentially puts himself out of the game. So
yeah.
Here we go, on to game 2. Remember, these games are all super important for these players. These players are playing for, ideally, that's a great start there, isn't it? Getting Archeops in the bin. But these players are playing for top 16 placements now. They're playing for monetary rewards on the line. These games are super important. Brian will not want to go down without swinging.
No, of course not. So, quick ball discarding the Archeops grabs the Oranguru from the deck straight away. Again, we talked about what a great consistency crutch this card is, just for giving yourself a bit of extra dig, making it so that, Brian probably also thinking, if I get Marnied again, I want to make sure this time I put something on top of the deck that's useful to me. And so, might be hopefully trying to use that Oranguru in that more proactive way.
And that would make a whole lot of sense on the back of game 1, right?
Yes.
Looking at prize cards, he's actually prized his Raikou. Now, it is at the bottom. So, there won't be any Raikou shenanigans. And then looking at Brian's prizes, a few supporters there and an Aurora. Really the notable things. Nothing really too major for both players.
And the Brian's hand, other than the quick ball, it's full of Pokemon, actually.
This could be an important Oranguru here again. Brian living on the Oranguru prayer.
It's a lost vacuum. No, but it is fine. So what Brian did very cleverly, like we were just kind of alluding to, he put Luminion on top of his deck with that Oranguru.
Oh, the Luminion. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he doesn't need it this turn. Now if he gets Marnied, he redraws it, and if he doesn't get Marnied, he also draws it.
Yeah,
so
okay.
That's really, really clever, actually.
I didn't realise Luminion was in the hand there as well.
Yeah.
Luminion saving that hand, as it were, and just Marnie proofing yourself. A real good counter to the Marnie as Ethan's going to do his first initial deck search and trying to work out what's been prized. He has prized a Lugia V, and doesn't he play a 3/3 actually? So
yes, so 1 less Lugia V than Brian plays. Brian's playing the sort of the thicker 4/3 line, which is kind of one of the more common lines that you see.
100%. What line do you play in your Lugia deck?
I think so. The main list I was experimenting with before was I think it's a little bit outdated. It was the one that had to cut a bunch of things to make room for Espeon and things like that. So just running against paralysis. So I was running a 4/2 Lugia line in that.
4/2.
Yeah, because you want to start with it, but then you had to cut somewhere in order to make room for the other stuff. And in theory, you can search out the Lugias right, with just 2 of them. So I guess that was the idea there. But then if you prize one, it does make things awkward.
Yeah, I think that's what you love to see as a Lugia player. Ultra Ball, double Archeops.
Oh, yes.
Get them in the discard pile nice and early.
Very, very nice indeed. And I mean, that's a really strong start, right? Kind of similar to how it was in game 1. And Brian actually, well, thinking about it, he didn't get any Archeopsis and Disco Pilot. Oh, he got 1, I guess, but he wasn't able to get 2 in there. So we'll have to find the second one on his turn 2.
And let's see what Ethan does here. He has got a Lugia down there. Oh,
there's the Marnie.
And there you see that Luminion. Like you alluded to, Brian said, I'm not losing to Marnie again.
Yeah, and there it is,
there
Luminion,
it is.
straight away.
Yeah.
Very, very smart. That sort of that proactive use of the Primary Wisdom paying off in spades.
Yeah, like immediately showing the value there. Because if Brian didn't do that, could have been a repeat of game 1, and we don't want that for Brian.
No, definitely not. So Heat Fire onto the Radiant Charizard already, so going to get buffed up to 180 HP. Does have a few other things in hand, but doesn't really need to play anything right now, so it's just going to pass. Oh, and there's an Evolution Incense off the top of the deck.
That's nice.
That's phenomenal. So you can you can Evolution Incense for the Archeops, use a Quick Ball to discard it, and then kind of you're rolling from there, and then you can just Luminion for the research, and chances are you find your Lugia V-Star after that.
Is there a way? What have we got here? Luminion, Quick Ball. But I was going to say, is there a way Brian could try and boss the Lugia? But I don't think the hand supports it quite yet.
No. Oh wait, actually, no. No,
you could pop for one Archeops though, if you really want. You have DTE.
I don't think about that.
You go powerful boss. But do you go? And I think he might be going for it because that would have found an Archeops if he was going down the double line.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to try and close the door right here now.
Because, you can attach a DT from hand.
He is
going
for the one Archeops play.
This makes so much sense because, sure, you only get one Archeops out, but if you carry your opponent's Lugia, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, the game's over. This Lugia starts swinging. Wow. So the Marnie, the complete reverse of game 1, the Marnie has opened up the door for Brian's, I don't want to say easy victory because we've still got a long way to go here, but at least going really far ahead. The perfect cards, and there's the boss. Ethan not getting down 2 Lugia. Wow. What a turn.
Yeah, and, you really don't care now if you only have one Archeops out. You've not your opponent's only Lugia. You know they can't get out any Summoning Stars this turn, so you have another turn to just attack for free.
And you know what's even scary as well for Ethan here? Ethan now needs to get down, well, I'm going to say 2 Lugia, which isn't possible because one's in the prize cards, but Brian has Luminion. That just goes immediately for a boss again.
Oh my goodness, you're right. So, he needs to get down 2. And he can't, like
he
you said,
can't do
the
his prized one. So he might even struggle just to get down 1 in this scenario.
Wow, this is very, very strong play from Brian there. Very heads up, not necessarily knowing that he only plays 3 and that there's 1 in the prizes, but even so, sort of knocking even back a turn, super, super strong.
And these are the sort of plays you have to make when you're 1-0 down. You have to sort of start doing some risky. But no Lugia comes down. You can even boss this Charizard just to remove this as a threat as well.
Yeah, I mean, surely you just do that right, especially because if you're going to be taking prizes, the Charizard has less of an attack cost, so I think you kind of have to just go for it immediately. And you have the Luminion there, so you can go for it.
Second boss is in deck. I think we just saw it there.
Yeah, so
of course it's in deck. Oh, no, it's not in deck, actually. It's in the prize card.
No!
Oh, it is in the prize card. I apologise.
Oh.
I mean, still in a good position.
Yeah,
let's not make no mistake. But there's no basic Lugia down for Ethan at all. So even if the Charizard does swing, you can just respond. You can set up this bench Lugia now, and the game could start to get away.
Yeah, it could. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, I got a little bit confused for a second because I thought he got the Archeops out with the Quick Ball, but no, he got the Lugia out, like you said, and now he's Primal Turbo into it. So, yeah, it's still a fine position, right?
Yeah,
you KO the Manaphy, and then, sure, maybe Ethan gets a choice spell and knocks you out, but then you just come up with the other Lugia and KO again, and Ethan doesn't really have anything after that.
Yeah, still needs the choice belt to even get a KO on this Lugia, so in a very fine position. And if he did have that boss's orders, though, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It looks like Brian's debating what to do. I think you're fine to hold this hand, surely, right?
Yeah.
So Luminion for research next turn if this Lugia gets KO.
Again, put it on the top with the Oranguru, so just in case of another Marnie. And, draws an Aurora Energy too.
Wow, so this Lugia on the bench, he get ready to set up. And wow, Ethan now, what can he manufacture here with this turn? There is a Marnie. That's the only draw support. A cancelling clone is going to be no good. Ooh, boy, this could be a make or break Marnie. This Marnie needs to find, does the Charizard need another energy to attack? It does not. No. So it just needs a choice belt here. Ethan is living for a choice belt. He plays 2 copies. They're both in the deck. Here we go. What has Ethan got here?
He finds
a choice belt. No way.
So this keeps him in the game.
This keeps him in the game.
Yeah.
This keeps him in the game. Now this forces from Brian a Lugia V-Star. Because I don't think there was enough powerfuls on there for the Lugia V to attack. There was a double turbo, I believe. So We need to find a Lugia V-Star here from Brian to even respond, I believe.
Yeah, we do. He does play 3 of them, so, you know, chances are good for him to find another one because none of the rest of them are prized either. Now Ethan gets gets the Lugia down at long last, plays the capture energy probably to try and get another one, but then realizes, wait, nope, can't do that. It's in the prizes.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that is in the prize. Ethan hasn't had a chance to maybe have a good look, unfortunately. Oh, and Guru coming down again. The Guru Gamers, gang, stand up.
Yes, so...
Wow, what a draw to get into that choice belt, though.
Yeah, and prime weight wisdom from Ethan's side, putting the quick ball back on top. Yeah, there's a choice belt. Combustion Blast will take the knockout on the Lugia and get Ethan's first 2 prize cards. So now it's up to Brian to respond. And actually, I think you kind of have to KO this Charizard, right?
No, you have to.
Yeah, you can't leave this.
Yeah.
I mean, it is not doing any damage right now because, of course, it can't attack 2 turns in a row. But you kind of, if you boss his orders, the Lugia, and KO it, then it can attack again. So you either have to not attack and then leave it in the active, and that seems pointless. So you may as well just KO it at that point.
Yeah, it's a really not great hand there for Brian, though. Got loads of energy in the hand and a Luminion. So did draw back into another Luminion, but then can you afford to research this? Hand away?
Probably not, no. But you need to find
yeah, I don't think this Lugia can't KO this Charizard, right? So
do you know what you do? This is the turn where you go Luminion for Skylar for Evo Incense.
Yes, you are correct. That's not normally an option for these Lugia decks, but we might see that here. This is the perfect time for a Skylar when you don't want to discard your hand, but you just need one piece of the puzzle. And you are correct. I think Brian might just be checking to make sure. Is it in deck off this capture energy search?
Yeah, although you could also just come in with your own Charizard. I mean, this Charizard is now powered up. There's been 2 prize cards taken for Ethan, and there's free energy on there, so that will also work.
That would work as well. That would work, and then you leave your Lugia less vulnerable.
And that was also capture energy. So, because capture energy attached to the Charizard and then grabbing the Raikou from the deck. Of course, there's no Manaphy outs, actually. You could do some bench type shenanigans with this one.
Yeah, you could.
In fact, you could win the game with Raikou, in theory. Because you just KO'd Lugia and the Oranguru.
You're right, actually. That's something worth it. So let's see what does this grab then?
Yeah.
Does this go for Skylar? Oh, it goes for Serena.
Yeah. Okay, I think so. He just KO'd Lugia.
How?
Yeah, in fact, that's it. He just scoops.
Oh, with the Charizard. Yeah,
exactly,
of course. Yeah. I was thinking that Lugia isn't doing that much damage, but yeah, no, you're 100% correct. Yeah.
So you just retreat, tap the Charizard, and then there's no way like you can catch us up, right? It's a similar situation to the last game, just in reverse. So now we're on to game 3.
On to game 3, the Lugia Mirror. So far saying whoever goes first wins. I'm intrigued to see if that stays true here for game 3 because anything can happen. That was a really interesting game, not a normal game. You saw Brian opt to go for 1 Archeops to try and put the pressure on. And it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it's okay going for 1 Archeops if, you know, going for it will win you the game. And that's kind of what happened there. You know, he knew that, you know, if he were to KO Lugia, that Ethan's position would be very weak, that he wouldn't be able to, you know, respond with his own energies because there'd be no option to Summoning Star. And so just getting out that 1 Archeops and sacrificing getting the second one, it was completely worth it.
Oh, 100%, yeah. What an incredible game that was, just to show that these players there know their decks and know these weird sort of outcomes where it might not be the most optimal play for your deck strategy, but if it really capitalizes on your opponent's poor start or poor board position, you can just close games out.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And both these games finished relatively quickly as well, so I think there should be enough time for a game 3.
Yeah, I believe so.
Especially because, I mean, the Lugia deck, it kind of is one of its benefits is that it is a deck that both wins and loses quickly, right? You can kind of see where things are going, especially in the mirror after not too long. So you usually have enough time to play out a full 3-game series.
Yeah, you're 100% correct there. So, like you said, Lugia is a very fast deck, like, because you either win that game fast or you're not setting up, in which case your opponent's going to win fast as well. So, game 3, day 2, all to play for here. I imagine... Oh, don't drop your cards. I imagine whoever's going first is probably favored, but anything can happen here.
Yeah, and I think that first draw from Ethan was actually a mulligan, so Ethan hopefully going to find a basic here and going to give Brian 1 extra card.
And those cards are really important because just helping you piece together. And that's another mulligan.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so 2 extra cards for Brian. I mean, you could argue probably not as good as going first, but starting a turn with 2 extra cards, never a bad thing.
No, not at all. Well, unless you draw a bunch of energy they don't want to see early, perhaps that would be the only exception.
Yeah, no, that is true, actually. The amount of time I've been playing Mew and my opponent mulligans loads, I'm like, I still haven't got a Battle VIP pass, though. How's this happened? All right, so let's see what Ethan's got here. That is a new hand. There
Yep.
must be a basic there. There is. So Brian's going to start the turn with 2 extra cards. And we're going to get this game 3 started here. Ethan versus Brian. Here we go.
Here we go, indeed. So, and Brian starting with a Veltal and even starting with an Oran Guru. Perhaps not the optimal start to either player. You don't want to really start with a 2 retreat cost 1 prizer, but that's just the hands that were dealt. And Ethan's hand, other than that, actually looks okay.
Yeah, got the capture energy to find himself a Lugia. One thing, is that an Evolution Incense?
Yeah, it looks like it.
So, no way to discard. Actually, this hand. What's that card on his left?
Is it an Aurora Energy?
I don't think this hand is that great. Actually, how is he drawing cards next turn?
Oh, maybe it's not.
What's that there? Oh, it's a research. It's a research. Okay,
There we go.
Ignore me then.
Okay. So even going for the Primate Wisdom now, just wants to put that Powerful Colors Energy back into the deck. Does get a choice bet off of that. And so after that, going to follow up with a Capture Energy. Just obviously going to go for that Lugia straight away. And you could attach a choice belt to it now, but you also don't know if you need it. So maybe just save it in hand for later. Wait until you know what attack you want to commit it to.
And then looking at some prize cards, Ethan's prize both copies of Marnie, so there will be no trying to turn to Marnie, anything like this, and a copy of Archeops. And looking over at Brian, nothing too crazy there, although 1 Luminion and 1 boss sort of compounding an issue a bit there, saying you've got 1 boss for this game, and you've lost one of your ways to find that 1 boss, so that could be interesting.
Yeah. So even having a look through and sort of now realizing that both of his Marnies are prized, and one of his Archeops is as well, but it's not the end of the world. You have to forget the whole reason why most, if not all, builds opt to play 4 nowadays is because you realize if you prize 1 when you're playing 3 or even potentially 2, it's complete disaster. So
makes it so much harder to just do that nice little turn 1, Ultra Ball away 2 Archeops. Just so much easier to do when you just got more copies of raw Archeops. So just make that nice and consistent.
Okay, so over to Ethan passes play back over to Brian. Brian's opening hand. Oh, I don't see a lot of. There's 1 Ultra Ball, but I don't see much of Pokemon Touch. I think that's actually. Oh, that's 2 Powerful Colors Energy, a bunch of Pokemon, an Ultra Ball, and then 2 Capture Energy. Oh, that's rough actually.
That's really interesting. Like, do you attach Capture to find a Lugia?
I think
or do you then find a Luminion?
So I think the play here is attach Capture to the Charizard, like Brian's doing. You grab the Lugia out, and then I think you Ultra for Luminion and Marnie. I think you have to. There's way too many energies in the hand. You can't really, you can't research all that way. It's way too many energies.
No, that'd be way too costly to research all that away. And the energies are so important with the Lugia deck. Cannot be accelerated from the discard pile. They have to be from the deck. One of the only engines that does that. So you can't afford to be discarded. And there is no special charge in this format or anything like this.
No, there isn't. So, yeah, Brian also having a look to see what's prized. 2 Powerful Colorless, I think, like you mentioned, not really that great. And oh, wait, no, you can't go for Luminion. He only plays 1 and it's prized.
Oh, he just plays 1?
Yeah, he just plays 1.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay. I just assumed that he played 2.
No, he only plays 1. So that's actually not an option.
In which case, this hand is a bit clogged then at this point.
Yeah, very clogged. That's actually really rough. I mean, if you had the Dominion, he could be fine. He can Marnie it away and no problem. But now, actually, what's he do? He has no out to draw, really.
No, he doesn't. He hasn't got anything at this point. Then Luminion was the only way.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Research. Oh, okay.
Oh.
So we just completely missed that. Apparently,
I think it's because it's a celebrations one. We're not used to.
Yeah,
we're
possibly.
not used to seeing that one.
Yeah, they're sort of cool. Like, it's the Professor Oak drawing outside of the card frame on the bottom.
Yeah.
I always thought that was really cool on that one.
It was cool, sort of breaking the 4-4 a little bit there.
Yes.
On Pokemon cards. Looks like going for the Manaphy, prioritising that. I don't mind that. He's stopping any Raikou shenanigans, turn 2.
Yes, although this would leave him with only 1 bench slot for Archeops.
Maybe he just keeps it in hand. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, because I think you kind of have to, right? Although that does make it potentially very awkward because if Ethan does get out Raikou this turn, that could be absolutely devastating.
Yeah, it's a real catch-22, isn't it? Yeah, I wonder what.
I think because maybe you put it down on the assumption that one of your things is getting KO'd anyway, so it's fine. I think maybe that's kind of the way you approach it. Brian does go for 1 more Evolution Incense first, just to have another look through, maybe grab another Archeops out. If he has a discard out, he can get that in the discard pile and set up his discard pile perfectly for next turn. Maybe that's what he's thinking there.
Yeah, maybe. I think you might be correct there. But again, look, Archeops, get that out of the deck. Definitely don't want that.
Yeah, there's a quick ball.
So okay,
yes.
yeah.
But it does. But okay, does just decide to pass for now. So
Well, now Brian's interesting here because he's got a Lugia down, and I think he has outs to a V-Star, but no Archeops in the discard pile. So I believe there was a research in his hand. So can draw cards, but still needs to play that mini game of actually getting Archeops in the bin.
But didn't he get one of them in the bin before? No.
No, well, there's no cards in the discard pile.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's a Primate Wisdom. Interesting. Let's see what this grabs. If this grabs a discard card, that could be quite nice. Because there's an Evolution Incense in the hand. Let's see what this is.
It is. Oh, it's a Canceling Cologne.
No, that's not great. I mean, I guess you can shuffle the deck with this Evolution Incense, so you don't draw back into that Heat Far. I don't think you want that this turn.
No. But Ethan kind of needs to go for an Archeops here, right? Because there's currently the discard pile on the Ethan side is completely empty right now. So
yeah, it's sort of awkward, right? Because there's two things. Well, I guess there's three Evolution Pokemon you need to find here, and you can make arguments for getting a Lugia V-Star, but you need to get this Archeops in the bin. So it probably has to be Archeops.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of pressure on this Professor's research here,
Yeah, there is a bit. Now, there is still a potential for an absolutely devastating turn here, because if Ethan can find the Raikou and power it up, he could take two knockouts a turn, easy peasy. And that's a very sort of scary potential threat that Ethan could put out. Evolution Incense goes to the discard pile. Archeops to the hand. There's a research in hand ready to go, and the Raikou's in hand there already.
Raikou's in hand.
So you can put it down, and
attach. Wow. Oh. Okay. So full sending the Raikou here. Choice belt on the active. Active on the Lugia. And here we go. Big research here. We need to get some Archeops in the discard pile.
Yeah. One Archeops in the discard plus the Lugia V-Star. Does he find it? There's
Ultra Ball. There's a V-Star. I don't think there's a discard option, though.
No, because he needs to play the discard option to get the Archeops.
What's that last card? What is that last? Oh, it's two Ultra Ball. There's two Ultra Balls. He's hiding it from us, Ethan. Don't do me like that, Ethan.
Okay, so this now becomes a very devastating turn, because you can get the Raikou out, you can retreat the Oranguru, you can just do a double knockout. That's very, very, very good. And you can tell he's excited about it. Yeah, Ultra Ball for the Archeops, and Ultra Ball discard the Archeops, and I guess it has to be another energy, which is the only real downside. He has to discard a lot of energy to do this play, but it is absolutely worth it in this instance.
Yeah, going 2 prize up and leaving a 2 prizer in the active as well. A 1 prizer in the active, I should say. Really strong, forcing Brian to really kind of go around it, because the Manaphy can come down, to be fair, but you don't really want this Lugia knockout, because the Raikou knockout, because it can actually OHKO a Lugia with weakness.
Yeah, it can. And so I'm sure if Ethan could bring up the Lugia into the active, he'd want to, but we would have had research, so no option to do that, unfortunately. But does have the first Primal Turbo ready to go, 2 more Auroras onto the Raikou, a second one going to attach to the active Oranguru, so that Ethan can just retreat, and then, yeah, double knockout, KO both the Raikou and the Amazing Ray of Altul.
Wow, what a turn. The Amazing Ray of Raikou proving its worth. And it's interesting, a card that's seen literally no play and then seeing a ton of play. Because you can just power it up 120 in 2 places, hitting for relevant weakness as well.
And maybe Brian now thinking, kind of regretting not benching that Manaphy, right? You have to know about it. Because here's the thing, if you bench the Manaphy, then Ethan is still going to go for a knockout, right, to try and go ahead on the price tempo. So then at that point, one Pokemon's knocked out, there's 2 bench slots then free again to go for the Archeops, but now you're just left with 2 of your key attackers just gone.
Yeah, no, that's devastating turn there for Ethan. Brian does fire off, though, double Archeops. Does actually play a Dunsparce here, and that might be what the copy, and that might be what this Quick Ball goes after here, maybe. I guess you're probably just going to deal with this Raikou. Yeah. I guess he probably can't go around it.
One play that could have been very nice could have been to go for his own Raikou and then KO the active and KO the Oranguru, but the Raikou was one of the things that got KO'd, so he can't. Yeah.
See, we see some Primal Turbos. I guess probably going to go to Lugia. Could go to Charizard as well, even, but then you probably wouldn't have promoted the Lugia, so he's looking through the deck, trying to work out what energy to attach. I guess with all your amazing rares in the discard pile, Auroras have no use, really.
Yeah.
So you might as well just put them on the Lugia.
Yeah, you only really need like one of those Auroras to power up the Charizard, right? So I think the rest can just power up the Lugia with not too many problems. You might want to keep one floating around just so that you can attack with Aqua Return later. So you don't want to commit all the Auroras there, but just absolutely just 2 of them, definitely not going to be an issue. And we see a double turbo there as well, so that now is the Tempest Dive cost powered up. Double turbo, of course, does reduce by 20, but I don't think it matters too much when you're doing 220 damage base, and then 200 is still more than enough to KO the Raikou.
I wonder if Brian plays this Marnie here. I wonder if he plays his hand isn't that great, so he probably does, right? maybe limit some of Ethan's options. Ethan's definitely the driver's seat here, though,
Yeah.
for sure.
And again, it's a common thing, right? The driver's seat is often the player who goes first, and it's kind of proven true here again.
Yeah, just being able to just get your Archeopsis into play, be the first one to fire off that big attack, and really asking questions of your opponents, like, can you keep up? Can you like try and stem the bleeding if it works? As it works, if you don't, you can just sort of run away with it. As Ethan has taken 2 prizes turn 2, knocking out 2 1-prize Pokemon and leaving a 1-prize in the active at the same time.
Yeah. So Brian did play the Marnie, doesn't play anything after using the Marnie, just does go for the Tempest Dive for the knockout, taking his first prize, and now it's back on Ethan to see how he can respond. There is a Lugia of his own that can respond pretty easily, actually, because he already has a choice put on it, so I guess he probably did just do that, but we'll have to see what he's thinking.
Yeah, I guess there's a world which you could try and use Charizard again, but you'd have to find it and a choice belt.
And you also have to commit 4 energy to it, right, because Brian's only taken 1 prize, so there's only a 1 energy cost reduction happening currently.
Yeah, no, I think she's probably going to see a Lugia V-Star coming in with that Tempest. Oh, what a strong attack. 400, 220. Can discard a staging, but then when you bolster it with Choice Belt, powerful energies, anything like this, start to reach those big numbers, and even carrying V-Maxes under the right circumstance.
Yeah, super, super good. So Ethan's very carefully considering his options here. I think maybe one thing we need to consider is that there's quite a few energies that have to be discarded earlier, right, including a couple of powerful colorless. So I'm actually not sure if he has enough to get the KO still.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see actually how many powerful left. I was trying to work that out. My hand was great. So the hand is not very good.
No, there's a lot of quick balls, but not much else.
Well, yeah, exactly. So we might see Luminion. Let's see how work it. So
there's
one powerful.
I think is it 2 in the deck currently? Is it just 1?
I've only saw 1.
No,
two.
Okay. That is enough because
that is enough.
Yeah, because with the choice belt and 2 powerful colorless, that will be 290, and that will be enough to get a Lugia. So I'm sure that's what Ethan wanted to make sure of before he decided to commit to anything specific. And then off the quick ball, he can just find his Radiant Charizard, so he has another attacker good to go for the next turn as well.
And he's got his Luminion as well, so we can go Charizard, Luminion with these quick balls and sort of get back in the race. Oh, I wonder if there's an argument here for just maybe holding that Luminion, trying to find a boss's orders if you need it next turn, because we could just argue maybe just playing cards here is fine as well. Just to draw into stuff. I'm taking the Serena off the Luminious sign, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, Ethan does actually play 2 Luminion, unlike Brian who plays 1, so he can use 1 now, and then he has another one in reserve to search for something the next turn as well, if he so desired.
And Aqua Turn being such a good card to deal with Radiant Charizard, right? Because you hit it for weakness, shuffle yourself back in, remove it from play, and then you can get the benefit again of its ability to search out a trainer. What a strong card that is.
And very interesting here. We see a double turbo and capture coming to the front. Is even considering maybe attaching to something that isn't Lugia? Because they're going for the primal turbo, but very heavily debating. Actually, okay, attaches capture double turbo. So this to me says that he is going to Serena something up and KO it, and actually going to sort of go around this Lugia V-Star for now.
Is he going to like Serena that boss V them? Go down to 2 prizes.
Yeah, I mean, you can do, right? So the double turbo and the choice belt will essentially cancel each other out. So if you bring up the Lugia V, it's actually Heat Fire.
And the Heat Fire of all things, I wonder.
Well, I mean, he has to attach 1 more energy to apply the attack cost, so fair enough on that. But is there no better thing to attach than the Heat Fire? Maybe not, I guess.
Yeah, it's tough to see. Haven't we had a chance for you to have a look at Ethan's discard pile there? But yeah, there's a Serena. Interesting. So still taking 2 prize cards.
Yeah,
which is good. You have to imagine then looking at if you're Brian and you see this turn, you have to be thinking your resources must be dire for you to do a play like that, right? Because surely you just Although maybe you could argue that Ethan didn't want to commit to this Lugia to carry Brian's V-Star, because then, Brian could then respond on that V-Star with his V-Star, and then you're out of luck maybe, but...
Yeah, but Brian's Lugia is nowhere near carrying a V-Star right now. It's got 2 Auroras and a double turbo on it.
Yeah.
There's no damage buffs on it at all. In fact, quite opposite, there's only 1 damage, debuff in the double turbo. Quick ball discard the Manaphy and finds a Lugia.
It was an interesting turn, that. But over to Brian. Put out another Lugia. This is actually a win con here for Ethan now.
Yeah, it is.
Going after. Here we see the Skylar being played, though. Skylar for choice belt.
Well, okay, he's going to attack with Charizard, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so going to gonna well go for another Primal Turbo, probably just power up the bench Lugia, but then he can just retreat this active Lugia, bring it to Charizard, and Combustion Blast, Choice Belt for a KO.
Tell you what, isn't it mad how that Boundaries Cross Skylar is in form? That has been, not only has that just been recently reprinted, that card's been in form for a long time.
Yeah, it really has.
They really like Skylar.
Yes. But it's true, yeah, it is a bit like benching this Lugia is a bit interesting because now Ethan just come in very easily with a Charizard knockout on the Lugia V. He doesn't even need to find a Choice Belt.
Yeah,
Can just
exactly,
Combustion Blast to get the job done. So does he have it here? Draw. I think he has a Charizard in hand, right? Or well, he has an Ultra Ball.
There's an Ultra Ball.
Does he?
He does play another Luminion, so
Yeah.
he can go hunting for it.
So that's a quick
so
ball.
I think that might be it, right?
Let's see if he has enough. So yeah,
There's Charizard.
Yeah, there's Charizard.
Still needs an Aurora.
And he gets this Luminion as well. Yeah, I think
There's
he's got
a boss.
it. Yeah,
it looks like he's lining it
Luminion
up.
grab Buster's orders, and then Ultra Ball for the. Yeah, he's got it. Capture Energy works as well.
Capture Energy for the Charizard.
Primal Turbo
What's
attached to Boss's orders. That's the game.
There you go, yeah.
And even Chew will win the round.
That benching that Lugia V, really interesting. Unfortunately, closing the door there for Brian to win that game because it's giving him a nice, easy out that wouldn't require a Choice Belt.
Yeah, wow, that's okay. So yeah, huge congratulations to Ethan. They're taking the win in this Lugia Mirror. It's Lugia Mirror I think is a matchup that gets a little bit too much flack. You know what I mean? It's I think because people think, oh, it's the same deck playing against each other. It's not necessarily the most interesting to watch. But I really disagree. Like seeing like the back and forth between the way the Lugia decks interact. To me, I think it makes for a really fun match to watch.
Especially now you've got stuff like Charizard. You've got stuff like the Raikou. You've even got cancelling clone. So we haven't seen it yet, but there is always the option for Boss Manaphy, cancelling clone, snipe something else on the bench. There's a lot of moving parts. I don't think it is just as simple of whoever goes first wins.
Yeah, it's not. And I think Tor talked a lot about this in his interviews, actually. He said that, yeah, obviously going first is an advantage, but otherwise you basically win the Lugia Mirror on either resources or tempo, right?
Yes,
so, if you can out-tempo your opponent and get a KO in a more advantageous way, that can swing it back in your favor. If your opponent discards too many energies because of having to retreat, then that's another way to swing it back in your favor. So there are things that you can do to claim the edge back, even if you aren't the one going first.
Yeah, and that's what's going to separate, we mentioned before, separate the good players from the great players, not just, throwing your hand and and ahhing if you go in second in the Lugia Mirror. There's plenty of ways you can try and maneuver it to get the dub there. A lot of moving parts, as it were. And I think resources is such a big one.
Yes.
How many times are we there, like, squinting at the screen, like, how many energies he got left? Because it's so important. They're all so impactful.
And it kind of, I mean, it didn't come into factor quite as much there because there was kind of the easier win with the, the boss's orders onto was it boss orders arena? Anyway, the gust onto the Lugia V to bring it up and KO it.
Yeah.
But if that game had gone a little bit longer, that could have very much come into play.
No, 100%. And what an interesting round. And that round's so very important there. Both players trying to get the win, and losses and ties aren't too helpful. So congratulations on getting the win there. Yeah,
and then with that win, Ethan is one step closer to locking a spot in that top 8, which he's going to be very, very happy about. There's still one more round to go. Yes. So, I'm not quite sure if that will lock him in just yet. And we need to have a look at the rankings, see how many match points everyone is on before we have a full idea of what's what with that. But, potentially, one step closer to actually locking that up.
And that's what it's all about. That's where, the top cut is where you start getting that big prize and you get the money and a lot more CP. And once you're in that top cut, I believe it's anyone's game at that point in regards to just taking the whole regional home.
Yeah, exactly. All that's left, it's single elimination at that point. It's just either you win and carry on or you lose and you're out. And you keep doing that until there's one player left to crown a regional champion.
Right, but I think we're going to cut to a short break now, and we'll hopefully come back to you real soon.
match winner, Ethan. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that was actually one of the few Lugia mirrors that we've seen over the course of the last 2 days.
Oh.
It's a very interesting matchup, of course,
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
And how do you feel about it? What's your general approach going into a Lugia mirror, given that it must be a very popular matchup?
Yeah, I think whoever starts first obviously had the advantage.
Yeah,
They
yes,
get,
of course,
they
yeah.
get the V-star first, and like you apply a lot of pressure. But I think with the introduction of Raikou and all of this, I think that gives a big comeback potential, especially if like your opponent doesn't respect it and doesn't bench the Manaphy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Raikou is really good going turn 1 as well. Like if you can punish them like a boss on the Lugia V and then
Yeah.
like, kill off one of their bench Pokemon, yeah.
That was something that we actually saw that, right? Because actually Brian was debating about benching a Manaphy or not.
Yes.
But then you were able to get the insane, turn 2, and you were able to get the double knockout on the Veltal and the Raikou,
Yes.
and that was a really big swing.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure whether the right play was to bench a Manaphy or not, because like if he bench a Manaphy, then he kind of bench locks himself, right?
Yeah,
And
he
if
does.
if I just pass the turn, then he's forced to either go pass it back to me or go with one Archeops, and one Archeops can be pretty dicey in the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, so because it kind of puts the ball in your court, right? So if you're in that situation, if he does bench the Manaphy, do you actually go for the KO, or do you think you just leave it?
Because my hand was pretty clogged. Like I was looking at my hand. I think I had like the Raikou, I had the Aurora, I had the Evo Incense. I thought to myself like if I top deck the I think I was looking for like either Lugia V-Star or another Archeops. But yeah, I think if he benched it, I might have just passed back to him and like put it back into his court, right? Because he can't clear off his bench.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And and at the end there, were you surprised when Brian benched like Lugia V? Because we were like saying, we're thinking that seems like now easier win condition because you don't have to find the choice belt anymore.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I was actually like when he benched it, I was a bit confused. Maybe I'm not sure because maybe he expected me. I'm not sure what he was threatened about because if his Lugia V-Star was gonna die, I would have won the game anyways, right? Yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe he has some thought process that I'm not sure about. But when he benched it, I was like, okay, I think I got game in hand. Especially after he used Skylar and not Marnie.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now this win puts you one step closer potentially to making top 8. Do you need to win your next round to make top 8 as well, do you think? Or is it kind of borderline?
I have to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what's the point requirements. Like, because it's only my second global regional. So I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, huge congratulations to you.
Thank
Best of luck for your last round. And now we are going to throw over to a very special interview with our junior division winner.
Thank you.